Linden, Executive Director of the Alliance for Middle East Peace. Hello, thank you very much indeed for joining us. If you could tell us, first of all, why it's looking like there won't be a vote on this resolution tabled by Tunisia.
Well, it seems like there's been quite a lot of diplomatic activity, particularly over perspective, watered down the details of the resolution originally put together by Tunisia. Nothing is confirmed, obviously, but what we understand is that two substantive elements in the original draft. The first related to a call for an international conference to discuss the Israeli-Palestinian issue based upon, UN Security Council resolutions rather than the details of the Trump initiative, as well as, I think, a kind of unprecedented call for Chapter 7 of the UN's Charter to be implemented, which would call on the UN to somehow try and implement previous Security Council resolutions in Israel-Palestine. That those two elements were scrubbed. And then in addition to that, there was further work by the US, we understand, to remove the reference to the 67 borders. So it seems as if the Palestinians, when arriving in New York, realized that the resolution that was going to be produced and put to the table for a vote in the Security Council didn't meet the minimum which would be required for them, I think, to support it themselves. And over in this doesn't seem to be amounting to what the Palestinians had initially pledged, I think, over the last 2 weeks.
Apologies just for the quality of the connection. We're going to keep going, but we might have to interrupt if it doesn't get better. So, John Linden, just when this peace plan was unveiled at the White House, there were several ambassadors from the Gulf present. Is it fair to say that Palestinian support is on the decline when you've got countries like Egypt and Saudi Arabia really saying that they appreciate Donald Trump's efforts?
Yeah, I think it's been a direction of travel really since the Trump administration came into power in 2017. Obviously, there's linkage with regards to the issues with Iran and with sort of growing normalization of relations between the State of Israel and the wider Arab world, and also a sense of exhaustion with this issue, which when you speak to diplomats from across the region, the truth is, if you look at the opinions amongst many Arab citizens in the region, they still favor, I think, what we would see as the traditional baseline for resolving the conflict around, a two-state solution on the 1967 borders. But that doesn't really seem to translate into the elite level policy. And of course, most states in the Arab world don't have a very clear transmission mechanism between the support of the average citizen and their leaders. What's interesting is Tunisia, one of the more democratic countries in the Arab world, actually issued the most condemnatory response to the Trump plan 2 weeks ago. And then when we saw the Arab League summit take place a week later, even though many members of the Arab League had issued kind of qualified, sort of relatively nuanced messages in light of the plan, then the entire Arab League together, its 22 members, came out and essentially parroted the Palestinian line. So we're seeing that while things are shifting and changing, and behind the scenes, the sense that I get is that there is quite a little. It's still very difficult for the Arab states, from a public perspective, to come out and advocate for a Trump plan that has almost no support in the Arab world.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed for your time and your analysis. John Linden.